And what I'm cooking today for dinner is some Indonesian rice. And the recipe that I normally cook is a yellow rice. It's called Nasi Kuning, and it's made with white rice. But today I'm going to make it with brown rice. Why? Because we have an epidemic, the coronavirus epidemic going on right now, and we just need a little extra health in our food. So along with the yellow rice, of course the yellow rice is cooked with turmeric powder, which is it's a pretty healthy root, which will also color the rice, and that's why it's called yellow rice, or in Indonesian it's called Nasi Kuning. And I'm going to make a real simple recipe. Besides the turmeric powder, I'm just going to use some salt, just plain salt, table salt. I'm going to add some flavoring. I'm going to use some onion. I'm thinking about maybe putting in a little garlic in there also. And I've already opened up a can of coconut milk yesterday. I made some peanut sauce with it, and I'm going to just very lightly use the coconut milk. You can use as much coconut milk as you want. The more coconut milk you use, of course, the more coconut flavory it will be. And to enhance the color, we'll add a little bit of lemon juice, which is also good for your vitamin C. Of course, when you're boiling it, it may not retain all of its potency, but I'm going to put it in there anyway, just to make that yellowness of the turmeric powder come out in the rice. And I've already put my brown rice in the pan. I got about 1.5 cups, but it really doesn't matter how much you use. You use however much you want. And normally when I cook rice, I add water to kind of like the first digit of my finger, and that's for white rice. Now, brown rice seems to absorb water a little more, takes a little more water, so I'm going to go a little bit higher. So I'm going to use about that much above the rice. You know, it's based on maybe using a cup and a half of rice. And but then I'm going to use a mixture of water and coconut milk. So right now I've already added my rice, my brown rice in the pan. I've washed it. I've got some water in there. And now I'm going to add some coconut milk, maybe about 1/3 of this can. Normally you could add a lot more to it, again, to make that coconut flavor really stand out. But I'm going to use part of my coconut milk for some peanut butter sauce, Gado Gado sauce, which I'm going to use on the vegetables, which I'm going to be cooking later, to go along with this yellow rice recipe. And I guess I should call it yellow-brown rice, but I hope it's going to turn out yellow like it should. Okay, so right now I have about this much left in my can. I'm going to bring it down to about here, so about 1/3 can of, this is Thai organic coconut milk, but there are so many varieties of coconut milk you can get, and whichever flavor you like, stick with it if you want, or sometimes you get a good bargain on it. I think I used a little over 1/3 of a can there. All right, and then I'm going to cut up some onion, some leftover onion, and I'm not going to use a whole lot of it, but just enough to give it a little extra flavor there. And let me move this out of the way here, and I'll just slice it up, chop it up, however you want to chop it is up to you. And it doesn't have to go super fine. I hope it's going to kind of blend in there anyway. So just blend that right in there. And this is probably not even 1/3 of a cup of onion. And of course, more or less is fine, however much onion you like. So far, so I have onion, I have coconut milk in here. I'm going to use turmeric, and I'm just going to gauge it, but I'm going to guess that I'm going to be using about under a tablespoon. I would say about 3/4 of a tablespoon. So that's about how much I got there, and maybe it's a little more than it. Well, I'm kind of using kind of heavy now. All right, and we got some leftover lemon. I'm going to just squeeze some of that in there. And maybe, I don't know, that's probably about a teaspoon and a half or so. I'm going to stir this up and kind of mix all the ingredients. And then there's one item I like to use in rice to make it kind of fragrant, and that's lemongrass. Now I got some lemongrass left over. I'm just going to cut this little dark tip off. You don't have to, but I just want to open this lemongrass up to expose the inside. Smells very, very fragrant. And I'm just going to chop it open here to let some of that lemongrass insides come out into the rice. And some people just like to bruise it, beat it up or whatever. I like to just cut it open and really get the insides come out. Keep it from going all over. I'm not going to chop it up, I'm just going to tie it in a knot. And I'm going to use the whole stalk pretty much. So it's going to have a real fragrant flavor, and just by breaking it up like this, a lot of that fragrant flavor is going to just come right out, okay? So I'm going to put that right in the rice and put my finger on top, and I'm only about this far in the water, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to add a little bit of water. And that's pretty simple. And so I'm about like to the middle of this digit here on water, and I'm just going to bring this to a boil now. Once it boils, I'm going to bring it to like a real slow simmer. Now traditionally yellow rice is it's cooked until it boils and then it's put into a steamer, but by adding a little of this extra water, I don't really think I have to put it in a steamer. Now I just got the mixture that it just came to a boil, and one thing I still have to add is my salt, and of course you can do that right at the beginning, but here I am, and I think I'm going to put in about 3/4 of a teaspoon, and that should be about enough there. And I'll stir that up a little more. And it looks very, it's a very wet mixture because I did add more water than usual. Okay, now that it's come to a boil, I'm going to put a lid on it and just let it simmer as slow as possible. And actually I'm going to transfer it to a smaller burner. Alright, I'll give it one last stir. And then cover it up. For the Gado Gado, you can mix pretty much any vegetable that seems suitable and that you like, of course. I like to use some vegetables that are parboiled. I don't like to overboil them, especially to retain the vitamins. So today, what I found in the fridge, I've got some baby carrots. You can use whole carrots, of course. And I'm going to just use a few of those, and I'm just making enough for two of us. So I'm just going to, get the hardness off of these carrots, chop them up a little bit, and then I'll put them in some boiling water. And I figure these will take the longest to cook, so I'll put these in the boiling water first. And along with the carrots, I'll cook some green beans. I've already washed them when I first brought them home, and so that will all go in here. I'll put some water in the pan now to get the stuff boiling here. And we'll just put this on this big burner over here and get that started. And then in my little pan, I'm going to put some water and boil some eggs. I like to have some boiled egg with my Gado Gado. It just adds a little variety, so you don't just have vegetables, but you have a variety. Actually, what I'm going to do with this batch of Gado Gado, I'm actually going to add a little bit of meat. Normally, Gado Gado is a vegetarian recipe, and it's very, very suitable for vegetarians. Today, however, I'm going to add a little bit of protein. We had some hamburgers yesterday, and I got a little bit of hamburger patty left over, and I think that'll be a perfect addition to the Gado Gado. Okay, so I'm going to boil some extra eggs. That way, I'll have a little bit extra left over. I I would suggest not putting more than one egg in the dish for 2 people. If you like eggs a lot, eat all the eggs you want, but for us 1 egg will be enough. Okay, so we got the carrots boiling, and I'll grab a handful of green beans here and chop those up. You still got the little ends on them. You can cut them off if you want, if you don't like the little pieces on the end, you know, just to make them look a little cleaner. Certainly don't have to. I'm sure they're very digestible. And just get a few of them off anyway. And then just chop them up in a little smaller pieces, and then they will go in the cook pot along with carrots. I think we need to cook them separately. They're all cleaned, washed, and good to go. So off the green beans go right in there with the carrots. And I'm not too worried about how long they cook. I don't want them to get overdone. I prefer them a little bit on the crunchy side. You certainly can cook them soft if that's how you prefer your vegetables. I think white cabbage is always a great addition to Gado Gado. It makes a wonderful vegetable. Doesn't take that long to cook it. And I think what I'm going to do with the rest of this cabbage is make some sauerkraut. Actually, I've got a couple of them. And so, put a little bit of cabbage in the water in a minute. I think I'll let the beans cook for about a minute. And the water hasn't started boiling yet, so it hasn't really done anything yet. So, I'll put the cabbage aside. And actually, I also have some red cabbage, which is not a very common in Gado Gado, but like I said, you can add pretty much any vegetable you want. You know, anything that you like dipping in peanut sauce, basically. And actually, I'm also going to use some leftover potatoes that we had from yesterday. I like to boil potatoes, but we fried up some potatoes, so I'm going to use some fried potatoes with the Gado Gado. The texture of the boiled potatoes, and you don't need a lot, is also very good with the Gado Gado. So let's cut up the potatoes, and then we'll have those ready to go. And just everything basically that you make for Gado Gado, you just kind of cut it into bite-sized chunks. And that's what I'm doing now. And as you can see, just 2 slices of potato, just to give it a little bit of potato flavor and texture. That'll be very nice in there. If you like raw onions, you can put those in there. Normally, raw onions don't really go that well in Gado Gado. What really goes well is caramelized onions, to the point where they're actually either caramelized or beyond that, to where they're actually a little bit crunchy. So to do that, you just chop up some onion, fry it in some thin layer of oil, or better oil than butter, and keep stirring it and let it get nice and golden brown. Drain it out on a paper towel, and then sprinkle that on your finished product. You can also sprinkle it on the rice. Fried onions are a wonderful addition to pretty much any Indonesian dish. The green beans and the carrots have come to a rapid boil, so I'm going to add the cabbage. One thing about mixing this all together is you don't get to see all the vegetables nicely separated on a plate. Usually, if you throw like a party where people gather, you wouldn't mix all this stuff in one pan. You would keep all the ingredients separately, serve them on a platter where you have your cabbage, your beans, your carrots, whatever, Brussels sprouts, all separated so everybody can pick their vegetables individually and rearrange them on their plate however they like. I'm going to put these potatoes here on the side. I think I'm going to chop up a little bit of onions, which I'll have just available to sprinkle on dinner. I don't have time to fry the onions like I was talking about earlier. Looks like the eggs are coming to a rapid boil here, so I'm going to turn those down to a slow boil so that they don't explode. And I think I'll cook them, let's see what time we got. It's 6:21. I'll boil them about 6 minutes or so. And chop these onions up a little bit to sprinkle on. Alright, so onions will just go here on the side. This will be, I'll make this my serving plate. And looks like the eggs are still going a little too fast. So the eggs are turned down, and I gotta hurry up and add some cabbage before everything gets cooked here. And I don't think I'm gonna put a lot of red cabbage in there. But we do need our vitamins. I think this is a pretty healthy food here. And then another wonderful vegetable I have here is spinach. And we use a little bit of that. Spinach, of course, doesn't take hardly any time to cook. So I'll just take the stems off here, and actually don't even have to cook it, but I will just to blanch it a little bit. It'll green it up and clean it up. And we'll toss that, and I think that'll be it. I have some avocado, and I've never had avocado with my Gado Gado, but I might just do that because I've got some ripening avocados, and why let them go to waste? There's definitely a great health benefit with those avocados, which I definitely think all of us could use. So there we go, we got some chopped spinach here, and I think I'll add a little more because once this goes into boiling water, it'll shrink down to almost nothing. And on this, I am going to leave some of the stems and make some great fiber. Okay, here we go. I'm going to add, now I don't know, maybe this has been boiling 4 or 5 minutes now. And now I'm going to add the spinach, and just for a very short time. And now this is truly mixed vegetables here. There's like no presentation on this one. I mean, no presentation of all the vegetables being separate. But that's okay because, you know, it's not a party. We're just going to mix them on our plate anyway. A yellow rice cone, which is traditionally how yellow rice is served. I don't think I'm going to put it in a cone. Today's just dinner at home, the two of us, and we're looking just for some nice, healthy, good tasting yellow rice and a Gado Gado. Alright, I've just turned off the eggs after 6 minutes of boiling, and I'm just going to run some cold water over so they will stop. They'll still be warm. The vegetables, time to turn those off. And I'll drain them right away. And they are going to keep cooking because they're still very hot. We got some, a little bit of meat here I'm going to chop up. Just make tiny, again, bite-sized pieces. This is just a plain hamburger patty, which I put some salt and pepper on yesterday and just pan-fried it, and it's not very overcooked. All right, so here's our plate preparation. And I think I'm going to put the vegetables on a plate right now. So there will be a little bit of a presentation of vegetables. And we have the meat there, and then we'll have some potatoes here. And then I have a little bit of room left here for some boiled eggs. And that will be the only presentation we have on the Gado Gado platter this time around. So, here the eggs are still plenty hot. I hope they peel a little bit. Depending on how old they are. The older they are, the better, easier they peel. Alright, so we have an egg here that we can put right on here, and we'll chop it up on the cutting board or just cut it up right here on the presentation plate. I do wish I had some deep fried onions right now. Maybe I have something else that's crunchy. It's always nice to have something crunchy on top of your Gado Gado. And of course, the ultimate crunchiness is some shrimp crackers called krupuk. And there are different styles of krupuk. There's there's shrimp. There's also umping, which is another cracker, which is really great on top of Gado Gado. And haven't gone shopping for a while, so I don't have any krupuk in the house. You can also take crushed peanuts, smash them up a little bit, sprinkle them on the dish. Anyway, let's take a look and see what we can do now about making peanut sauce. Gado Gado sauce. Before we get going on the peanut sauce, let's see how our rice is doing. It's absorbing the moisture pretty well. I'm going to take a little taste test because brown rice does take a lot longer than white rice to cook. It looks like there's still some moisture in there, which is good because we don't want the rice to be dry. I just tasted the rice and it still has a little bit of firmness to it. And I'm just going to check to see if it's sticking to the bottom, and it's not. So since it's not sticking to the bottom, I'm not even going to stir it. I'm just going to let it just simmer a little bit longer. I'm getting a really wonderful, fragrant smell from this lemongrass in here. And the yellow rice is actually, it came out pretty yellow, as you can see, and the onions are they're still visible, but they have blended in there pretty well. The lemongrass, of course, is going to be taken out. The rice is pretty well done now. I'm going to let it steam a little bit with the lid off to let some of the excess moisture evaporate, and also so I can enjoy that wonderful fragrance of the lemongrass and the coconut. I'm going to show you the peanut sauce that I picked up, and so basically I'm going to cheat a little bit. Instead of making peanut sauce from scratch, I'm going to use this Thai style peanut sauce, and it's very much a Indonesian style peanut sauce also. Now this one's called Asian Mix and Dip, and they're telling you to add mix with cream cheese or sour cream. Well, that's if you want to make a dip, but I'm not going to make a dip out of it. I'm just going to make a straight up peanut sauce, which normally is just basically peanut butter and hot water, coconut milk, soy sauce, and some flavoring. And that's basically the simple part, maybe a little bit of brown sugar or sweetener. This has some ingredients in here, but mainly it's got water, sugar. It's got peanut paste, red chili peppers, and soy sauce, soybean salt, brown sugar, mustard sauce, some distilled vinegar, and sugar and spices, dehydrated garlic, all kinds of wonderful things you can add to peanut sauce. All right, so this is going to be really easy. I'm just going to mix this with a little bit of hot water, add some peanut butter just to extend it and make a little more because it's a very small package. And I'll add some soy sauce, maybe a little bit of sugar. I could add some garlic. Maybe something to spice it up, like a little bit of hot chili paste or something. Not too hot though, just enough, to give it a little kick. All right, so let's put this stuff in a pan and see how if we can make a nice creamy peanut sauce out of it. And the sauce is blending nicely. Now I've added a little more water, just to thin it out a little more. And now I've got to make up my mind whether to add some chili sauce. I have sweet chili sauce. It's an alternative. Normally you can add like some Indonesian hot chili sambal. I don't have any right now. The sweet chili sauce would put a nice little kick in there also. But I also have an option. I could put in a little bit of Thai kitchen. This is the sriracha, which is it's a nice flavor also. It's basically pickled chili pepper. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to put a little bit of sriracha in there. I don't think that was more than 3/4 of a tablespoon. And it's starting to get pretty hot, warmed up. And if your vegetables are cold, that's fine. That's the way it's eaten in Indonesia. That's the traditional way. Nothing's more. Actually, the sauce, the warm sauce, actually warms up the vegetables when they've cooled off. And I think the sauce is pretty well warmed up and ready to go. The rice is also ready to go. I'm going to take out the lemongrass, and there's quite a bit caught in there, and I don't want to waste that, so I will maybe see if I can knock some of that loose. I think I'm going to take the rice and put it on a little presentation plate anyway, just to give it a little bit of a nice look, before serving it. It would just enhance the presentation. And it smells wonderful. I can really smell the lemongrass there. Now if you let this cool off, you can shape it into a cone. This yellow rice can also be made with sticky glutinous rice, which is another wonderful way to present it. And you can put sprinkles of various ingredients on there, fried onions, coconut, toasted coconut. And let's put the peanut sauce in its presentation bowl also. And it actually smells really good. The spices from the pre-mixed package really helped out. Lots of recipes for peanut sauce and lots of instant peanut mixes you can buy. So basically what we have now is these 3 dishes here, and I think we're ready to serve. So let's take a look and see how we can serve this dish up on one plate. We'll take a little bit of the yellow rice, and we'll put that, and it's almost like a sticky yellow rice there. We'll put that over here on one corner of the plate. And then we'll get our vegetables, our Gado Gado, and we'll just put those over here on the side of the plate. Put a little bit of egg next to that, some potato, and a little bit of onion, and me not being the vegetarian, I will put a little bit of the meat on there, which is not traditional at all, but I just have a desire to have a little bit of meat today. Alright, let's put some of this peanut sauce on there. Put some on the rice. I like peanut sauce on everything. I even like peanut sauce on French fries. So this is kind of like sauté sauce when you put it on meat, and it's Gado Gado sauce when you put it on vegetables. So you have it. Here's my my version of Indonesian yellow rice made with brown rice. I hope you have a chance to make it yourself. What I'm going to do, I'm going to break from tradition again by adding some crunchiness after all. Since I don't have the Indonesian kerupuk, I do have some, they're called tatapos, but basically your corn tortillas. And like I said, anything crunchy on top of Gado Gado is always a pleasure. So I'm just going to break up some corn chips and put it right on top of my peanut sauce and add a little purple color, and now my dish is ready to eat. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you will end up making a variation of this very dish, and I would say enjoy, have a good dinner.